Okay. So, Erica, will you please introduce yourself? Let us know who and where you are, a little extra info, and we'll get to the questions.
Cool. I am Erica. I live in Camas, Washington, which is just right outside Portland, Oregon. Different state, but basically the same spot. And let's see, I've been a member now, I think I'm on like a year and a half. In May, it'll be 2 years, which is funny because it feels like it has been, like it's gone so fast, but it's also like I don't know how I survived before it was part of my world. So it's kind of funny that it's only been a year and a half, which is kind of fun.
I think that too, though, about you in particular. I'm like, it hasn't been like 6.5 years. Like, really?
I know.
Yeah.
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 And actually, I was also brought in by Vanessa, which is funny. Vanessa is a childhood friend of mine. We go back to, I think I was like 2 when I met her, and we were across the street neighbors and BFFs until she moved away from me to Chicago when, oh gosh, I think I was in like 7th or 8th grade. So she was basically like a staple through all of my childhood, Girl Scouts together, all that kind of fun stuff. So she brought me in, and it was actually kind of weird because we had kind of fallen out of touch, but I still followed her on Facebook and stuff. And at the time I was struggling with fertility issues and was just like, okay, so also a disclaimer, I hate to be vulnerable. And so Unicorn Wellness the whole community has been a really funny experience for me because I don't have close friends. Like I have like maybe 3 that like live across the country. And I'm just like, other than that, I don't open up to people. I don't like talking about personal things to people. And so I was having a hard time with fertility stuff, and I just felt like something was missing. And so I wanted to get into meditation, but I didn't know anything about it or what that meant or anything. And I knew from Vanessa's posts that she is like she's just amazing in everything. And so I messaged her and I was like, hey, do you have any suggestions of like what guided meditations I could listen to or something? And she gave me a couple examples, and then she also sent me you. And I don't know what it was, but it was just like, it was like instant magic. And I watched that first video, the introduction video, and it was just like, this is it. Like, okay, I'm in, I'm cool. And so from there, the Unicorn Wellness community, actually at that point, I think it was still Matt and Kitchen, but anyway, the community of all of these wonderful, amazing people, there's something about it that's so magical and so amazing that like I actually like opened up, and I have shared so much more than I would ever share with anybody that I ever like met in person. And I think maybe part of it is like the safety of it being this community where we all know each other, but it's also like you have that little bit of anonymity where it's just so safe. And yeah.
Well, and I'm sitting here laughing too because I can be similar. People like meet me in person think I'm kind of, I don't know, like can be. I don't trust everybody. I'll put it that way. But in a certain community, it's a very safe space. But beyond that, it's also a very brave space. And I'm sitting here going, "You don't like to be vulnerable. Look at you with everybody here." Like, okay. And you were like, I'm on it. I'm doing it. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
I didn't actually know that either as far as like friendships go.
Yeah.
That's a big
I think 3 close friends. And they have been friends forever, and they are amazing, amazing friends. But there's like 3 of them.
Yeah, that's a big deal.
Yeah.
So, okay. So originally, like when Vanessa communicated, it kind of solved like the meditation and kind of wanted something more. What does it solve now in your life for you?
Well, it's evolving, which is kind of cool. It's like a little bit different. And when I started, I was already going to the gym all the time. I've always been kind of a gym rat, but I was kind of on the opposite side where I just like overdid things, and I like tried to just destroy my body and somehow think that was going to make me magically feel better, like mentally, spiritually. It turns out it doesn't. Surprise. Yeah, right. So from there, at first the meditation was like a really big thing for me, and then I had my first I don't know if my first one was a 1-card reading or a 3-card reading, but I had that first reading, and you were helping me kind of navigate my headspace in regards to fertility issues.
Yeah.
From there, I did the reset, kicked gluten out of my diet, stopped taking fertility drugs, which is kind of weird and felt really backwards, but through like the whole process and just like the support of the community and you and talking, and I swear I use you as my personal therapist too, it has gotten me through like the whole thing. And I got pregnant, And then my whole experience totally changed, because then it was more like me emailing you all the time, like, hey, this part of my body hurts. What do I do now? Which was super helpful and awesome. And then I got through that, had my sweet little baby. He's a cute little cutie bug. And now I have been navigating first like all of the after body stuff. And then at some point I kind of gave up, and honestly, I haven't been on the mat for like a million years. I still go back to it a little bit when I try to, but right now I'm just like totally focused on all of the like, tarot cards myself, which is kind of cool, and then meditations, and again using you as my personal therapist and trying to navigate the whole like postpartum depression world, which again, sharing that kind of stuff with like anybody is like, I don't know what's going on here, but it's just been so amazing, and it has supported me in a way that like not only is it like, it's like a package deal where it's like the physical, the mental, the spiritual, like the whole, everything just kind of like feeds off of each other. And I feel like depending on the day, depending on the month, depending on like what part of my life I'm trying to navigate, there's something there to help. I love it.
It's amazing. Will you share how like postpartum you are right now? Because it's not.
Yeah, not very. And it's actually kind of weird, because I always thought that postpartum depression was like an instant thing. Turns out for me, it didn't hit until 12 to 15 weeks, somewhere in there. And baby is now, his name's Elliot. He's super cute. He's now about 4.5, almost 5 months old.
Yeah.
And so just kind of navigating all that. It's getting better by the day, but it's really nice to have a community and support network and such wonderful, amazing individual people who I can just like jump on the Facebook group and be like, I'm sad because of this. And everybody just jumps in with all this love and support, and it's amazing.
Yeah, I think again, when I knew that Lita and you and Lindsay on a different spectrum, but the spectrum of motherhood and new motherhood, and whether you've got 1 or 9, when you have that postnatal, it's new. That's a new soul and a new person and a new relationship and a new way of navigating your whole life. That it is really beautiful to hear you all talk through how the different aspects support you and how there's an ebb and a flow to that. And postnatal depression is no joke. Like that postpartum depression is like, that's no joke. And I, interestingly enough, didn't have it with my sons, but I still have seasonal depression that I navigate and that I manage. So I understand, and movement's always been such a home base for me to help navigate that. But the meditation is so powerful when you're like, I can't even navigate that because I can't get myself there. That there's still that support system, which is just powerful. And so I'm just so grateful that that's there for you and that resonates for you. If it were to go away tomorrow, if Unicorn Wellness was no more, how would you feel?
I would feel so lost, even when I'm not participating I feel like I'm always participating, because I'm always like creeping and scrolling and like looking at everybody else's stuff in the Facebook community. And like watching the videos and looking at the weekly tarot readings and stuff like that, I feel like I get so much out of them that if it was gone, it would be like this like piece just like missing from my core now. It's weird, but it's funny because it's only been like a year and a half, and how is that so like part of me now?
Well, I do think it's funny, but and everybody's got their own unique journey, but Jill's been with me for 5.5 years. There are the members who have been with me every moment for 6.5 years. And I have clients who left, when I left a studio environment or a gym, that I've had for 15 years because they came to the online offering. So it's kind of like, if it's a fit, it's a fit. Like, if it's not, it's really not. Like, but if you want it, if it does resonate, it's pretty powerful. But Erika, you in particular had this pretty powerful transition of coming. And if I can share it too, that first reading was really about the infertility and the issues, and that I always play both sides of science and of natural approaches, because we need both of them. But
for sure,
talking you through like, well, here's what's possible, here's what I've helped people with, here's what I've seen, here's what I know. And then you get to make choices, and you really did choose to make a go of it naturally. Of like, no, I'm gonna quit taking them. And then being really diligent about being gluten-free. And then a little bit like you got your miracle baby.
Yeah, for sure.
You
Yeah.
know, like you had been told, like, this is not happening without all this
hmm
stuff. And I was like,
Yep.
well, it's possible. Do you believe in
hmm
miracles?
hmm
Like, things are
hmm
possible.
Oh, and I was at a point too. It was miserable. I mean, and I'm totally, science is the most wonderful thing ever. Like, obviously, when you need a medication for something, you need a medication, and doctors are doctors for a reason. Like, it's fabulous. But I was at a point where just the weird stuff in my body was just not working for me, and it wasn't working. Also, I was like a good solid year-ish into it, and nothing working. And was having to just go through each additional step, and each one would just make me feel more and more like a failure, like my body was broken, like it wasn't working, like it was terrible. And it's funny because I feel like I'm kind of in the same place now, but like in the reverse, where with like the depression side of things, I don't even want to go down that path. I don't want to go down like a drug route because I just feel like it doesn't work for my body in these situations. So it's kind of cool.
Yeah, I think that's a powerful thing to say and to recognize, because I feel like my personal system is very similar. Like, I had a thyroidectomy, I have no thyroid, I'm on
hmm
daily chemical medication. I wouldn't be alive without it.
hmm
Like, hooray for science. Like, but
Yes.
as the body, typically I'm hypersensitive to things like that. I've, any kind of like numbing or anesthesia or anesthetic, like I freak out. It feels creepy in my body. And like knowing where it's necessary and where you're comfortable and where you're not, and then using which tools to, because it's always about balance.
hmm
So
hmm
again, like, just really beautiful that in this community we're all about being empowered by your choices. Make the choices that resonate with you and your body and your system,
hmm
letting things being supported in a spiritual way for all those choices. And
hmm
then, like, the other opinions don't matter. They really don't matter, right? It's
hmm
not like there's one answer around here, because that's certainly not the case.
hmm
Like, yeah, so beautiful, 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 beautiful.